Hello my friends and welcome back to another video. Today's video is something I've never done before and I'm really excited. This video idea was from Katie. She is one of my patrons over on Patreon and she gave me this video idea and I am very excited to do this because I think this is going to be so much fun. Also, I think it's going to be really helpful for unhauling, but let me tell you what we're doing. So what I did was I picked out 10 books from my TBR shelves. These are 10 books that I have had on my shelves for way too long. I don't feel like I'm inclined to read them anytime soon. I don't really even remember why I was like super excited to read them, and I'm just not gravitating towards any of them. So what I'm going to do is read the first chapter of each book, and I'm going to come back and see if these books are worth giving another chance, like actually like reading them. If I think that I know now what like the writing's like and a little bit of the plot, that maybe I would pick it up, or am I going to unhaul these books based off the first chapter and based on the fact that I haven't been reaching for them, so I probably won't reach for them in the future. If any of these books are actually like worth my time and like my energy, and maybe the first chapter isn't like the best representation, please let me know in the comments down below if I should keep any of these if I decide that I am not that excited based off the first chapter. But the goal is to hopefully get rid of some of these books or maybe reignite like my interest and my passion to read them. So that is what we're going to do. I'm going to show you the 10 books that I have picked and, you know, talk a little bit about them and why I picked them. So let's talk about these 10 books. First up is The Whispering House by Elizabeth Brooks. I'll be honest, I don't even know what this book is about. I think it's a haunted house story. I'm pretty sure I bought it because I thought the cover was really cute, which we know I have a tendency to buy books based off the covers and not really know what the plot's about. So I really don't know, but it's been sitting on my shelves for I think a year now and I haven't reached for it. I don't even remember why like it interested me, so yeah, I figure this is a good book to put in here. Next up we have Reprieve by James Hahn Matson. I've had this book on my shelves for I think almost 2 years now. Has it been 2 years? I don't really remember. When did this book come out? This book came out in 2021, so it's been a while. So I was initially interested in this book because it is about a full contact haunted escape room, but when reviews started coming out about it, it turned out that this is more like literary social horror, and I have a very hard time with literary horror. It's not something that I tend to enjoy, so I kind of put this book off and I just was kind of intimidated by it and not very interested in it, so I never picked it up again. It's just been sitting on my shelves and I'm hesitant about this one. I don't think it's gonna be for me, but I figured this would be a good time to try the first chapter and see what I think of it based on that. Speaking of books that I you know, didn't read because of the reviews, Devil House by John Darnell. I picked this one up because I thought this was going to be like an 80s haunted house, like possession kind of story, like, you know, scary, spooky. But based off reviews, I guess it's more like of a crime book. I don't know. I was kind of disappointed because I really thought that we were going to get like an 80s haunted house possession kind of story, and it just didn't seem like that's what it was. So this has been sitting on my shelves and I don't really know if I'm really interested in this book or not anymore, but the cover is awesome. So I figured this would be a good time to put this one in here. Next up we have The Secret History by Donna Tartt. I picked this one up because I wanted to read more dark academia like thrillers, and this is like super popular. I've heard it's extremely boring though and like dense, and those are two things that I do not enjoy. So I haven't touched it since I bought it. I don't even know if I'm gonna enjoy this at all. It doesn't really sound like something I would enjoy, so I'm gonna give the first chapter a try and see if I'm right about how this is not for me. Next up is Gallant by V.E. Schwab. I've actually never read anything by V.E. Schwab, and I guess V.E. Schwab writes more like fantasy, which I did not know at the time. I kind of saw the cover and the house, and I thought that like this was gonna be like a haunted house kind of thing. I don't even know what the plot is, but I don't know if this is actually something that I would enjoy or not. It doesn't really sound like it, and I don't even remember if I saw good reviews for this or not, so I'm really unsure if I should even keep this in my collection. Next up is Standalone by Paul Michael Anderson. I got this in a Nightworms box one month, and it's sat on my shelves ever since. I have not once picked this up. I don't even know what it's about, I don't think, but the cover is pretty interesting. I like it, so you know, maybe this is a book that I've been needing to read and I just have been passing up on my shelves. So it's been on here for a long time. I'm pretty sure I got this in like 2020, so it's been here a while. This Thing Between Us by Gus Moreno. I don't even know why I picked this one up. I think it's because everyone was talking about it, but I am fairly certain that this is cosmic horror, and cosmic horror is not something that I usually enjoy. So I kind of have avoided this book because I know that it's gonna be cosmic, and I am not a cosmic horror fan. So I haven't really reached for it. I figured that I'll at least give the first chapter a read, and if it interests me enough, I might keep it and try it, even though I know I'm not super into cosmic. The Last Beautiful Girl by Nina Lauren. I'm fairly certain I bought this because of the cover. I believe this is a YA horror. I think it also has to do with social media. Yeah, I don't really know. This has been sitting on my shelves for a year and I just haven't reached for it. I think the cover's cool. It sounded cool at the time that I bought it, but honestly, I don't reach for it, so I'm gonna read the first chapter and see if I should continue. Another like YA horror, this is Don't Tell a Soul by Kirsten Miller. I also bought this for the cover because I think the cover is absolutely stunning, but haven't touched it since I bought it. So, you know, I'm gonna give the first chapter a read and see if it is worth the time I need to put in to read this. And last is The Book of Accidents by Chuck Wendig. This book is massive. It is gigantic and I hate big books. I always put them off, and I have never once thought to pick this up to read it. Not once since I've gotten it. I think the cover is really, really cool. I've never read anything from Chuck Wendig. I've heard very, very mixed things about it. I've heard a lot of people don't really love this one and they've DNF'd it, or they ended up giving it a really low rating. So I have a feeling that this one's gonna become unhauled because I just don't think that this is for me, but we're gonna give the first chapter a try. Okay, so those are the 10 books that I'm going to read the first chapter of. I'm gonna split them into 2 groups, like 5 and then 5, just so it's a little bit easier for me to, like, you know, read them. So I'm not just sitting here reading 10 first chapters in a row. So I'm gonna do the first 5 that I talked about, and then I will come back and tell you how I felt about them, if I think I'm going to keep any of them, or if they're all going to become part of my unhaul. So I will see you when I read the 5 books first chapters. Okay friends, I am here to talk about group 1. So there are 2 books in this group that I would consider keeping and trying to read, possibly. If you can guess what they are, I will give you a second. Look at them. Which ones do you think sound like Aaron? Which ones do you think would be up my alley? Okay, so let's talk about these books. First, The Whispering House. The first chapter is really slow. Nothing really happens. It's kind of boring. It's about a wedding, and it just, there's nothing happening in it. The writing is just very like bland for me. It's a gothic mystery suspense, I believe, which gothic is very hit or miss for me, but from the first chapter I read, I really don't think I will pick this up at any time, so I am probably going to put this in the potential unhaul pile because I just really don't think I'll be reaching for it, and the way it's written is typically what I don't love in gothic, so I think this will probably be a miss. Also on Goodreads, it has like a 2.9 rating average, which is very low, so I think this might be an unhaul. Surprisingly, Reprieve wasn't terrible. Nothing really happened. The first chapter was a lot of just one character. I was learning about the character Kendra and just kind of like some stuff that's been happening in her life, but I found the writing to be very easy to read and like comprehend. Not typically what I think of when I think of literary, but that could come later on in the book. It could come into play later, so that is something I'm hesitant about. But from the first chapter, it wasn't boring. I wouldn't say like I'm like head over heels in love with it and I want to read it all immediately, but it definitely didn't put me to sleep, and I could see myself potentially reaching for this later on, so I am considering keeping this. So let me know if you think this is worth keeping and trying again, because I could see myself keeping this one, but I'm not 100% sold on that yet. Next up, Devil House. The first chapter was extremely short, but I'm gonna be honest, it took me a lot of concentration to pay attention because I just really did not care what was being said. I have a feeling that this book is not going to be for me. Like I said, I thought I was getting like an 80s possession, exorcist kind of demonic haunted house thing, and based off the writing, I just can't see myself being that interested in it. So I am probably going to put this in the unhaul pile just because I really don't think I will probably pick this up. The Secret History. I'll be honest, I didn't even finish the first chapter because the writing of this book is so hard for me to read. It is pretentious and it is dense. This book is just screaming pretentious to me, and I already know that based on that writing, even the small amount that I read, I will not be able to focus or read this, and I just cannot see myself picking this up or even enjoying it in the slightest. I don't think it's for me, and honestly, I'm not really surprised. I went into this with like not high expectations. I just kind of wanted to try more dark academia books, and this is one that people had recommended, so I decided to go with it. But honestly, I don't think it's for me. I don't think it's for my like kind of reading level. I like fun and entertaining and like simple, and I think this is going to be everything that I do not like, so I am definitely going to unhaul this one. Lastly is Gallant, and I have very mixed feelings on this one because I have never read a V.E. Schwab before. I know that this is more fantasy forward. I did not know that at the time, but now I do. When I bought it, I thought it was more horror, and I do know this is like more spooky, like paranormal, so I am interested in it. The first chapter was extremely short and not really a lot happened. The writing was pretty nice, like it was enjoyable. I didn't find myself like wanting to, you know, put the book away and get it out of my face and like get rid of it immediately, but I wasn't like over the moon with it either, so I'm very unsure about this one. I could see myself hanging on to it a little bit, but I also can see this one being a book that if I hang on to it for a little bit longer, I still won't read it and it'll just sit on my shelves. So let me know if you think this one should be you know, kept, if I should give it another chance and like read more of it and like try to give it like a proper try. Let me know if you think I'll like it, you know, that kind of thing. I would love to know, but for right now, I'm very unsure. I could see myself keeping it, but I can also see myself unhauling it, so I am not 100% decided on this one. Okay, let's move on to group number 2, the last 5 books. Let's read them and then decide what I think. Okay, again, with the second group here, I have 2 in here that I could see myself keeping and potentially reading. Do you know which ones they are? If you can guess, decide now. Okay, so first up we have Standalone. This was the one that I had in my Nightworms box and I just hadn't read for like 2 years. I'll be honest, I read the first chapter. There is a lot of like good kill scenes and a lot of like bloody moments, and it does have like a slasher vibe. However, there is a slight twist to it that I think is a little bit more science fiction. I think this is more like a meta story. I personally don't really care for anything like that. It just is not really my realm or my, like, you know, preferred type of story. So I have a feeling that I won't really care for this one. It is a really short, fast read, I can tell, but I've already had it on my shelves for this long and I haven't read it, so I really don't think I'm going to pick it up anytime soon. So I am going to put this in the unhaul pile. Alrighty, then we have This Thing Between Us. I don't really know because there wasn't a first chapter. This book is split into parts, so I kind of just had to guesstimate where a first chapter would be. The writing is okay, but remember what I said earlier, this is a cosmic story, and the first couple of pages didn't suck me in enough to make me think that, I might actually enjoy this even if it is cosmic, which I know that once the cosmic aspects come into play, I won't be as interested. So because of that, because it wasn't that engaging from the very beginning for me, I have a feeling that I'm not going to overly care for this one, which makes me fairly certain that I am going to unhaul it because I really just don't think I'm gonna like this. I can guess, I just know I don't like cosmic, so I have a feeling that this is not going to be for me, so I am going to probably unhaul this one. The Last Beautiful Girl. This one is hard because I liked the first chapter, but I didn't get a lot out of it. It's interesting to me, which is why I'm probably going to keep it. I'm thinking I'm gonna put it into like the keep pile. I just have a feeling that I could enjoy this. It's a YA horror, and I do tend to really like YA horror. I like the setup. It's very interesting. I want to give it more of a chance and actually like read more of it because, again, the first chapter wasn't that much. Like, I didn't get much from it. So I do feel like I could like this one. So I am tentatively putting it in my keep pile. Let me know if you've read it and if I should try it. Second to last, we have Don't Tell a Soul. This is another one that I am thinking about keeping because I actually really liked the first chapter. Again, I like YA horror. I find it very interesting. It's very easy and like fun and like entertaining and like, you know, more lighthearted. So I do feel like I would enjoy this one. It has like a good atmosphere so far. The first chapter had a lot of like good spooky atmosphere. I feel like this is a ghost story too, which I feel like is something that I really enjoy. So I am feeling like I am going to keep this one to give it another chance because I do feel like I might actually like this one. And lastly, we have The Book of Accidents. I don't think I'm gonna keep this one because it's really big. I don't think I'm gonna like this. I don't think it's gonna be for me. There was like one prologue, a second prologue, and then the first chapter. So I read all three and nothing really grabbed me, nothing really called to me. The writing was like fine, but nothing really like sucked me in for the story. I just think that based on the length and the reviews that I've heard, this is probably not a book for me. So, you know, I don't think I'm going to keep this one. I think I might try and unhaul it because I've been staring at it on my shelves for over a year. I just don't think I'm gonna get to it. I really don't. I don't think so. It's not interesting to me anymore. It's not calling to me anymore. I just can't see myself reaching for it and picking it up. So for those reasons, it is going into my unhaul pile. Okay, so out of those two little groups, I am thinking about keeping Reprieve, Gallant, The Last Beautiful Girl, and Don't Tell a Soul. So if you think that I should keep these and give them a try, let me know in the comments down below. If you think that any of the books that I am including in the unhaul pile should be given another chance, let me know in the comments down below. I will take your comment into consideration. I'm not going to guarantee that I will keep any of these books and actually read them, but these ones are at the top of the list to potentially stay and be read because I think I have the best chance of liking these ones the most out of the 10. Alright, that's gonna do it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed. If you liked this video and you want to see me do it again, maybe with like more books, like I won't do 10, I could do like, I don't know. I shouldn't promise a number because this was a lot of effort to read all 10 first chapters because that was a lot of effort. Some of these chapters were really, really long. So let me know if you would like to see this video done again, if you like this kind of style. Let me know in the comments down below. If you did enjoy it, please give me a thumbs up. That way I know that you did enjoy it if you don't leave me a comment, and that way I can do it sometime in the future. If you haven't already, feel free to subscribe to my channel. We can become friends, talk about books, horrifying books, thrilling books, romance books, manga, all that good fun stuff. And with that being said, I hope you are having a great day, night, morning, afternoon, wherever you are, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!